Hello everybody, welcome to our channels.
Yes, welcome.
My name is Tory Kinney. I'm a licensed realtor with EXP. You guys know me from my channel, ToryInRealty.
And my name is Christianah from ChristianahFash on YouTube. And I'm also with EXP as well.
So today we're bringing to you another video, and today we're going to talk about becoming a realtor during the pandemic. So since the whole world has changed, I think that it started March of 2020. Yes, the year 2020.
We're glad it's behind.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But since the first wave of the pandemic with the shutdown, everything has changed, especially us and a lot of you as well. Starting off a new career in the pandemic can be a very scary time. So we just wanted to have a conversation with each other and with you as well and just get real.
Exactly. So join us today as we talk about life as a realtor during the pandemic, right? We're just giving a recap of what really happened last year and how we were able to deal with things, just to, in turn help you out in case you're struggling with anything right now, and just to see that, just to give some advice as well, so that way we're all carrying each other along, right?
So when the pandemic happened, I was still in Humber School. So I still doing my courses to get my license. So at the time, I don't know, I had mixed emotions, because at first it was just really crazy because all the classes were in person. So because of the shutdowns, and for good cause, but because of the shutdowns, it completely delayed my whole timeline, as well as hundreds of other students. So at first it was kind of a disappointment that it would affect and delay my career in that sense. It had to happen.
It had to. I saw her, I was we're about to stop soon.
You know what? It happens in all my videos. I just go with it. Mommy life. So yeah, it was, on one point it was disappointment that it delayed everything, but on the other hand, it started to work out because it gave me so much more time to focus on my readings and get more
work done.
Yeah,
that's good. For me, starting off at the beginning of the lockdown, it was a really tricky time for me because myself and my partner, we literally had just gotten our license. Well, I had just applied for it, and then we got it in March, I believe. So everything.
And you went through OREA.
Yes, we went through OREA, and OREA used to be the real estate school. They had a real estate school that was offering the course, and before, right when they were about to shut down stop taking admissions for the school, that was when I applied, and that was in 2019. So when I started my exams and I finished everything, I finished it in December of 2019. They already were not taking new applicants anymore. Yeah, exactly. So at that point, I literally just got my license and was starting off. I don't know, should I stop?
Keep going.
Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, so she'll go. Okay, so I literally had just started with the application, and I finished the application right before the lockdown started.
That's the RICO application?
Yes, so RICO application, I just signed up with the brokerage that I was joining at that time and was ready to get the ball rolling. I was already shadowing my team lead, so already getting excited for what to come. Just for us to get to March, the first week of March, we were not sure what was going on. We're just okay, do we still come to the office? Do we not? At this point, I can't sell anything to anyone, and at that time we were trying to talk to, just letting our sphere of influence know that we're getting into real estate, right? So at that point, it's more of I'm in real estate, but
I can't sell.
I don't really know what I should do right now. I can't take your money.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you, I'm not going to take your money, right? But I can't tell you to invest in something, or are you looking to buy right now or lease or whatever, because I'm not sure if your job is going to be able to withstand this period, right? So you can't really tell anyone anything, right? So I'm just there okay, even me, I don't even know what's going to happen to me. So let's just wait and see what's going to happen. That was my whole mindset then. And we eventually just had to go on the lockdown, right? So at that point, it was really, really frightening for us because It's more of like, okay, we just started this. What do we do? This is the time that we're supposed to be out there, you know, vocal, this, that. But everyone was just shut, right? Everything was just silent. So we just decided, okay, instead of worrying about things, just like go with the flow, calm down, re-strategize, look at what's going on. It's more of like, that was the time for our leaders, well, in our brokerages, and also just people that you look up to on social media, right? Other experienced agents. You're just looking out to see what anyone has to say, and you're just looking for that mentorship. That was the way it was, right? Just us looking for people to see, just to see what's going on in the market, just to see what is going on in the economy, right? In the housing sector before we make any decision, right? But that was pretty much how the first few months of COVID was.
Yeah, and then even myself, like I started doubting, like, was I not supposed, like, was this God's sign of saying I shouldn't have become a realtor? Or like, was this a bad time to even become it in this industry? So it was a lot of uncertainty. I didn't even know if I would even have the opportunity to finish the schooling, because all of my courses, they were supposed to be mandatory. The exams were mandatory in person, and Humber didn't have anything set up for online courses as of yet, and it took them quite some time to get there. But just that whole period, you just like, I don't know what to do. Do I stop studying, which I did for a bit?
I can imagine,
do I stop
right?
studying, or do I take this time to,
you know, just
take advantage?
Exactly. I think everyone can agree, right? Like, no one knew what was going on. No one knew how to pivot at that moment. It was more of like, okay, what's going on? Like, what are we supposed to do? Let's just wait. But at the same time, you couldn't really wait, because you're not like, what are you waiting for, right?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? So everyone was just like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And everyone just went on social media, right? Everyone was making videos.
When it blew up.
Yeah, and that's when everything just, you know, at least that was like a ray of sunshine in the midst of everything else that was going on, right?
Now, so I got licensed in August of 2020. So right in the middle of the year during the pandemic. So it was a very uncertain time for me, actually now being licensed and being in the field and not knowing if I would have any. Normally they say it takes like, I think like 3 to 4 months to make your first sale. Yeah. And I'm like, at this point, I don't know if it's gonna be like even 6 months or a year before my first sale. But luckily, that all worked out. But one thing, I was talking to someone else, another student yesterday, and one thing I have definitely noticed within the last month or so now, that first of all, the market is hot. It's crazy. There's so much sales, there's not so much sales going on, but the sales that are going on are just crazy bidding wars. So there's a lot of buyers,
a lot of war,
but not a lot of inventory. But even in that, I have noticed that the people who are buying are serious buyers. Yes. So I'm finding a lot more qualified buyers and qualified leads coming to me, because it's people who are not just moving for fun or not just looking on the market to see what's there. It's serious people who are qualified or ready to be qualified and ready to make a move ASAP.
Exactly, and that's the good thing about it, because now it's not just people. There are people that are still looking to... No worries.
Why are you wearing your boots?
Because Nana said I'm going to the store with her.
Sorry.
No worries.
Continue.
So it's not even just that. I mean, there are some people that are not ready at the moment to buy that would still approach you. It's more of like, okay, even if they're approaching you right now, it's to prepare for the future. It's to know what the market is like now, and also to see what opportunities they have, because they see that things are just going up. People are selling places. You list a place for 500,000, you're selling it for almost 600,000, or even
not more.
Even more, exactly. It's crazy. So people are at least trying to know what options they have and to see what's really, really in it for them, right? Like what's in the market for them. So now that fear of, what would happen, will I actually still be able to practice as a licensed agent? What does the future hold for me? Will there be places on the market for me to sell or even buy for my clients? All those fears are now like going slowly, because you see now that there's the opportunity for it. And with the housing market, things really, really changed, even as at the middle of the year last year, right? When people started becoming more confident to, go for showings, when we had like safety measures, like ensuring that, your clients are not exposed to COVID before you go on showings with them, and also ensuring that, you have your gloves, your masks on, your sanitizers. That just made people more confident.
Or even just the technology. It's like, I think it's pretty much standard now that you have to have like HD photos for sure, but pretty much every listing has video or virtual tour or 3D tour to try and just minimize people having to go out.
Exactly.
I actually had I had a client who wants to buy a home in Brantford, and there's a house they're interested in. It's been on the market for 29 days.
Okay.
And I called to know, I saw that it was a mere posting. So a brokerage had listed it on the MLS, but they just posted it. They're not
representing.
Right, exactly. They're not representing them. So I contacted the seller. They called me back and they said they're not doing any showings. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? So they said that if your client is interested, you can put in an offer conditional on viewing the property, and only once the offer is accepted would they allow in-person showings.
Oh wow, so they were super strict with that too.
So I'm like, that's probably why like that listing was on the market for so long, because I guess it's technically a FSBO. But people honestly, I want to say like they have that audacity, or like they have that like leverage to kind of do that in this kind of market. Exactly. And some families are like that. Some families have people, I forget the term, but when they're like, their immune system is
compromised.
So
that's
you
true.
can't even allow that. So,
and that's a very good reason to not allow showings, right?
So there's a whole bunch of different scenarios out there.
Yes.
But the point is, business is still going on. Real estate is still considered an essential business, and there are still a lot of families who are not just moving for fun but need to move. So
exactly.
Being in this type of career is still
it is a blessing. Yeah. Because I know that, it's for a lot of people, especially for us starting off, like there are a lot of people that also started off and were not able to do a lot of things, right? And that's because of the situation, right? When you have to because real estate is not something that you just have all your leads being handed down to you. Like you have to work for it. You have to nurture relationships. You have to network with people. And most of your clients might come through referrals, right? So it's based off of the work that you do with some people that you get referred to others, right? So if you don't have anyone to refer you, you're kind of like in that position whereby it's very, very painful, and it sucks because then you could be trying your best and your hardest, but if you're not getting anyone, you're not getting any money. So that's
my very first listing appointment. I know the reason why I didn't get it was because I had no experience. So with me, I always like to exceed expectations. I like to come off as professional. I always do my homework, research, and everything. So I did everything of that. Actually, I did a video on it. It was down the street after I did door knocking for the first time.
Oh, I think I saw it.
So I did that, and I had the presentation. It went great with them, and then we sat down. And at the end of it, everything was good. They were fine with commission. And then they're like, so how many homes have you sold?
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
straight there.
I'm like, I work with a team who's very experienced. They've sold thousands of homes, yada, yada, yada. And then they're like, oh, that's great. But how many homes have you sold? And I'm like, they had to go there. First. And I'm like, well.
Including this one.
So I'm like, well, technically, I haven't sold any homes by myself, but I know I definitely have the skills and the
team
resources exactly to get your home sold for the best dollar. And they're like, their whole demeanor just kind of changed, and I'm like, man. It happens. It happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us, but especially in the pandemic, it's hard to get that first experience, especially on the listing side. Listings are a lot harder to get.
That's true.
But it's just one of those things that you kind of have to just keep going. Don't let it throw you off your game. Just keep going to the next one until that opportunity comes.
Exactly. Because there will be one person that will say, okay, for sure, I know that you're new. Even if they don't ask, that's good. But if they ask, and you tell them, always be honest, number one.
Yeah.
And when they actually ask, just be honest and give them that confidence, because sometimes some people are also willing to take that risk depending on how you present it to them and depending on how open they are as well, because you could present it the best way possible. You can have your facts, but they might just say no, right? And that was what happened to you. But there's some cases that some people might still be like, okay, I understand. everyone starts somewhere, right? And then they just go ahead and let you sell it for them, and they'll see that you would do an amazing job, right? So it just takes finding the right person, and that's why when you keep doing it over and over again, you will surely find someone that would be different, right? So
which I did eventually.
Yes, thank
so
God.
Just keep pushing.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, one more thing that really stood out that I learned last year was that you know how you just feel like you're in competition with other realtors around you, because there are a lot of realtors and there are a lot of buyers and sellers when you're trying to like compete for business. I found last year that I was, especially with social media, you can see what everyone's doing. Even if they're not doing it, they can just post it online and you think, everyone is doing so well, even though they might be struggling with some things. But I just found that, last year, I had to always catch myself from like thinking, like putting myself in other people's shoes and like expecting myself to do what other people were doing.
Comparing yourself.
Exactly, that's the word. So my partner and I, like, we're both agents, so we both, we're always trying to think of new ways to improve ourselves and new ways to do things. And a lot of times I would just always think like, oh my gosh, like, oh, this person is doing this. Oh, I have to do this. How about we do this? How about, and then at some point you're just like, can you stop? Like, if you keep saying, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, you don't do anything.
Yeah.
Because you're just stuck worrying, right? And he was always like, trying to like get me back into like this mindset, like, just do what you can do and do it well. You don't need to like do everything that everyone else is doing because you see that it's working for them or that they're doing it, or you don't need to compare yourself with anyone at all, because what works for her might not work for me, and what works for me might not work for her. So everyone is different, and that's what you have to own.
Yeah, I would kind of like, I want to say victimize myself, where I would like, oh, this person is doing this, or this person is doing this, or I'd be like, oh, this person graduated Humber, and they've already done these many sales.
Exactly.
Like, I had another girl reach out to me saying, oh, how is it going? Being licensed is so cool. I've done 8 deals in the last 4 months. And I'm like, oh, and then she asks, so how are your sales going? And I'm like, awkward. I'm like, well, I'm enjoying my time. I'm learning a lot.
Bring out the other things that you're actually, good at too. See?
But and what you said in the beginning is exactly right. Perception. A lot of people, like I've done very well, and I've been very blessed the amount of transactions I've been able to complete. But I think a lot of people thought that I've done even more than what I've actually have done. Because, like, with me, when I do my own listings and stuff, you'll see me in the videos. But there's often times where other colleagues and stuff will have listings, and I will promote that on my page just to help support my colleague, like other colleagues in other brokerages, but also to see if I can find a buyer. So when I'm advertising someone else's property, if someone from my network wants to buy that, that's then business for me. So I'll do that a lot as well. And so people will think, oh, I've had like 6-7 listings when I really haven't. Yeah. But it's just that it's a perception.
Exactly.
So people would perceive it differently than what it is. So I can even see how some other people may be looking at me saying, oh, Tory's done this, this, and this. Why can't I get a sale or something like that?
Don't base your goals off of
your
others.
Worth.
Exactly.
Like your career worth based off of what you see on someone else's social media page. Because we all know social media is all about showing off and who looks the nicest, who does this the most, and whatever. Yeah. So it's a big perception.
It's not always the reality. Yes,
that's the word.
Yes, that's true. It's not always the reality. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to copy people. Just be yourself and you'll be fine.
Be you. There's only one of you for a reason.
Exactly.
Even like my videos, like the whole purpose of me making these videos and my channel is to help other people who are kind of going through that uncertainty or need guidance or mentorship and things like that. And I still have people who dislike my videos. Wow. I have people who comment on my videos just saying unnecessary stuff. Oh, you're wearing too much lip gloss.
Are you for real?
Oh, you could have said all of that in 5 minutes. Why did your video have to be 20 minutes long? And you know what? You just learn to just, you know what? I'm sorry you had that bad experience, but apparently there's these other people who are enjoying it. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because one, it makes me happy. And two, there's at least one person I could say, at least one person out there who I think I'm helping.
I know.
So if it's just for that one person,
it's all worth it. Exactly, exactly. Like, yes, some people can say some things, but at the same time, you know, if it's what's the word?
Criticism?
Yeah, if it's a criticism, if it's a critique that can help you be better, take it, run with it, you know, fix things up. You know, no one is perfect just off the bat, but at the same time, if it's something that's not going to uplift you, if it's something that's not going to help you be better, then it's not worth your time, right? So that's just another addition.
That's some real talk for you.
Yes.
Did you have any more points?
I think I've pretty much said everything that is worth saying right now.
So we just wanted to come on and just talk with you guys. Starting off, real estate in the pandemic has been crazy, but it's also been a blessing in disguise.
Exactly.
Just because the pandemic is happening doesn't mean that real estate is dying anytime soon. Just because there's different brokerages out there, whether the physical brokerages or the 1% brokerages or like those kind of ones, doesn't mean that being a realtor at a traditional brokerage or something like that, it doesn't mean that you're not going to succeed. So personally, I think real estate is like a timeless career. People are always going to be buying and selling homes. There will be different technologies used, but I think that'll be up to you whether you want to incorporate that into your business or whether you want to emphasize that your business has that true connection, that true relationship with people that technology can never have 100%. But,
you know, things started off really bad at the beginning of the year, but I just thank God that, you know, it went better even towards the end, because when I look back, even as time was going, like every month throughout, even until December, because I had a goal that was in my head. I was like, you know, I want to make as much as this sale by the end of the year. And then towards the end, you know, you're just like, oh my God, you know, I didn't make my goals. But at the same time, it wasn't about at some point it switched from me trying to make a goal to just trying to help as many people as possible. And that, I felt like,
focus shift.
Yes. And I felt like that actually helped me a lot, because then it wasn't even more about like, okay, I know God's got me anyways. Like, so even if I don't do as much as this that I'm planning for, you know, I know that I'm still able to, at least I'm learning from all the situations that I'm having so far. Because one thing that was actually my worry was that a lot of the clients that I was getting at some point were not qualified, or there would be one issue or the other. And there was even a case that I don't know if I should even really talk about it right now, but they're just scenarios that were just like not the best, and it just was very, very like demotivating and made me feel like, am I really in the right career? Should I actually start thinking of getting another job? You know, what's my life?
Those quality leads.
Yeah. What is life really saying right now? You know, like 2020, you know? But at the same time, I feel like that, like you said, that focus shift just really helped a lot, because then I stopped just like worrying so much. And even when the worry would come, I'll just like try to snap out of it and just, okay, this is what you have right now. This is what we can make do of and work with this to get to where we want to be. And looking back now, I'm very grateful for how the year went. I know that it was very bad, but at the same time, it was not as bad. And some people had it worse, which is, you know, very understandable. And, you know,
I know a couple, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
But I know a couple students who couldn't even continue with the Humber program due to different situations in their family. So the pandemic has hit hard on a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So I think that's something we also need to be mindful of.
Exactly.
Whoever you're dealing with.
Exactly. All right. So I think, do you have any other thing to say? Okay.
I think I've talked enough.
I think we've said all that we plan to say and like just to share with everyone. We hope that, you know, this video was also very helpful and you were able to learn a thing or two. Or if not, you know, if you can just share, you know, how your 2020 went. If you are an agent and, you know, you also experienced a couple of things, you can just share a story or just share with us.